Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my presentation. Let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Erica Marie, and I am known as the Chakra Analyzer. I am an expert in soul mission readings and energy healing through chakra analysis. Some may categorize my work under the umbrella of Reiki, yoga, or massage therapy. The 3 points that I'm going to present to you all today is number 1, I'm going to dive into my background and explain to you all how I got into energy healing work. Number 2, I'm going to explain to you why energy healing work is so important. And number 3, I'm going to explain how you can apply energy healing work into your daily lives. Okay, number 1, let's dive into why I got into energy healing. People are surprised when I say this. It was actually the law that got me into energy healing. So let me explain. It was around 2014 while I was in law school. I was doing an externship with the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department Cold Case Unit. At the time, I didn't realize, but the Cold Case Unit is very well known. There is a series named The Bone Series based off of them. This unit has also been featured on The First 48 and The Hunt with John Walsh. So I'm very honored to be able to work with such a great group and informative group of people. Before I dive further into prosecuting cold rape cases, I want to take a step back and I want to share with you all where my level of understanding was regarding energy in a person's aura, thermal imaging. I know that there's machines that you can stand behind and it'll read your aura for you. Like, I understood these devices existed, right? So, I was taking criminal law classes because my background is criminal. I used to be a probation officer. I started out in juvenile a long time ago. So while I was taking criminal law, there was a case that came up. It was Kylo versus United States 2001 that really resonated with me. And the Supreme Court ruled that the use of thermal imaging devices, if police were using a thermal imaging device to scan someone's home, to be able to determine the heat radiation within the home. They determined it was unconstitutional. Even if the police were from a public vantage point, it was considered unconstitutional if the police did not have a search warrant. So from here, understanding that the police could not use a device to scan someone's home was unconstitutional without a warrant, I started to actually think about, well, what about scanning a person? Okay, because we all have heat and we have an aura around us. So the movie from 1987, the movie Predator, actually came to mind because it was one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid. And if you all recall this movie, the alien is able to see an individual's heat, see the heat coming off of them through the thermal imaging device that he had used in the movie, right? So I knew this technology existed. It's been around a while. So what if we were to use thermal imaging device on an individual, particularly an individual who's being, interrogated in a police station? Would we as police officers, be able to use this device? Well, following Kylo versus United States, I would say no, that would probably be unconstitutional to use a thermal imaging device on an individual without a search warrant. Absolutely. So I wanted to go a little bit further, and I actually wanted to know if anybody was using this, maybe outside of the United States, to be able to use thermal imaging device on an individual in interrogation to see if we can tell if a person would be lying. So going back a little bit further, before law school, going back to my career as a PO and things, I did have to take educational classes. And I remember attending a seminar where a detective was talking about how they were interviewing a suspect in a murder case. In that at the murder scene where this woman was murdered, there was blood spatter everywhere, and there was actually blood spatter on the plant. There was a floor plant that sat there. So what the police officer did was they took the plant and they put it in the interrogation room. And when the suspect, one of the suspects that they were interviewing, came into the room, the plant wilted. This was a sign to the police officers that this plant could feel the energy of the perpetrator. Now, I understand that that story doesn't necessarily talk about thermal imaging, but it does talk about energy. This plant was sensitive to energy. This plant remembered this suspect's energy being the murderer, and remembered what that felt like at the scene, and the plant was sensitive to him and be able to understand or feel him in the room again. That is why the plant wilted. So let's move further. Let's dive further. So I decided to research thermal imaging a little bit further, and I discovered in 2015 that the University of Bradford in the UK actually had created a thermal imaging technology for police officers to use while they were interrogating suspects at the police station. So at the police station, they had the double-sided windows, and when the suspect was in the room and they were interrogating him, there were police officers standing behind the window using this thermal imaging device, and what they were really focusing on is from the person's kind of like their headspace, the throat chakra area is what I call throat chakra. They were looking to see if there was a change in temperature. So in the facial recognition, they were really studying this. And what they were discovering is when the person was lying, their temperature actually heated up. This is where I discuss part 2, why energy healing is so important. So from having this knowledge and this background, I started prosecuting cold rape cases, and while I was prosecuting cold rape cases, I had discovered that a lot of the cases I was looking back to that were 30 years old, a lot of them were labeled prostitution cases, okay? But what I was discovering is that along the way, these did not look like prostitution cases. They looked like something else, and at this time, I was actually taking a human trafficking class. And I was kind of looking at the information I was learning in class, and I was trying to apply it to these prostitution cases. And these cases, to me, were not prostitution cases. They looked like human trafficking cases. Okay, moving on. When I was interviewing these victims of sexual abuse, sexual assault, I discovered that they actually all had a commonality. And what this commonality was is that no matter what they did to try to get out, to try to leave, go to a different city, go to a different state, or go to counseling to try to heal from the sexual trauma, or go try to have a different career, go have a different job outside of the sex industry, no matter what they did to try to get out or get away from the abuser, controller, the bad person, no matter what they did to try to get away, the same type of person, the same type of entity, just in a different body, would find them, okay? And I thought, gosh, we sure are giving a lot of power to these abusers, okay? How do they know that this woman is vulnerable? How do they know that they've been sexually assaulted? How do they know they can prey on their vulnerabilities, right? So what I discovered in my work as I started looking at energy, and what I realized is that if you have a healthy aura around you, which is also called the chakra system is where we hold all our energy and how our energy flows through us, okay? What happens is if we have trauma and bad experiences, that bad experience sits as energy in our chakra system. So remember, a healthy chakra system looks like the color of the rainbow, everything's flowing. An unhealthy chakra system looks like black spots. There are black negative energy sitting in the chakra system, sitting in your aura. And because that black toxic energy has not been healed at a cellular energetic DNA level, what happens is if you're walking around and you're holding this trauma, law of attraction says you are going to attract back to you the same type of situations that caused that trauma if you do not heal it at an energetic level. Also, if you do not release this trauma, this black energy sitting in your aura, for example, women that have been sexually abused were holding on to this trauma in their sacral chakra. That's the second chakra. Okay, that's where our sexual organs are. If that negative energy sits there, it will eventually seep into the physical body of the organs. I realized through conversations that a lot of these women were having UTIs every other week. They were having endometriosis. They were having hysterectomies into their 30s. There was so much trauma within their sacral chakra that was actually affecting their physical organs of their body. So imagine, this is where generational trauma comes in that can be passed through the bloodline. Imagine a woman who has a child after she's been sexually abused. She's passing all that trauma down through her child, through their bloodline. That is how generational trauma can be passed down through generations. Not only experiencing trauma, okay, it's actually within our DNA. This is where we need to heal and transmute all this trauma so we stop passing it down through generations, okay? Because a lot of times when you're born with this trauma already in your bloodline, that is what you, by law of attraction, are attracting. That's why a mother who, attracts men that are abusers, then her child, attracts the same type of man. Well, they say it's because, she was raised like that. No, it's not only is it she raised, it's a law of attraction. It's within her aura that she's attracting that. Okay. And the cycle is going to keep repeating and repeating until you heal yourself at an energetic level. Also, women that have experienced many sexual partners, and this is where human trafficking comes in and what I discovered. So if a woman is intimate with multiple partners, not only is she experiencing her own trauma, these men that are coming in and being intimate with her through her sacral chakra, they are transferring all their trauma onto her, okay? Think of us all being energy bubbles. Energy can be transferred. You can come into contact with another person, and people that are sensitive can feel that person's energy without even having to say anything. You can just tell. This is where energy bubbles come and they collide, okay? So when you are intimate with somebody, not only do you have to deal with your trauma, you're taking on their trauma is being transferred to you. This is why healing at an energetic level is so important, especially for women who have experienced sexual trauma, okay? Now, I don't want to say women because there's men that experience this as well. Any individual that has experienced trauma, any type of trauma, any type of abuse, they have to heal at an energetic level in order to finally be released of this trauma. This is where you come in and you self-empower because you have the power. You are not a victim, you're a survivor. You have the power to heal yourself. So you are no longer attracting this toxic, negative individual entities to you anymore. Okay? It does come down to you and empowering yourself to say no and then heal. And healing is not butterflies, kittens, and roses. This is hard work, and it is not easy at all. Okay? Here's my point 3. How can you apply energy healing to your daily life? I want to mention that energy healing is part of my soul mission work here. When I say my soul mission work, I mean my soul mission contract with God. I agreed to come here to help educate and inform individuals about energy healing. And I provide the tools to help them heal themselves. This is why I don't really resonate with the term Reiki, okay? Because people that understand Reiki, you go to a Reiki healer, someone that can help heal you energetically. I do not resonate with this, though God has told me I can help heal vulnerable populations such as animals and children and the elderly. I am not to do energy healing on individuals that can heal themselves, because what can be created with this is called codependency, where someone is relying on you to heal them, and they need to understand and empower themselves that they can heal themselves. In the world of advocacy, especially sexual abuse and domestic violence, I am very well aware of women that have experienced this, and I want to say men too, that there is always this unhealthy codependency that is formed among the victim and the abuser. So that's why I'm being guided and why I am not allowed to do any type of healing work on individuals because, again, the population that I work with, I really have to help them empower themselves. So I'm not talking bad or telling you not to do Reiki. It's just, this is what I don't resonate with it. Okay, moving forward, how can you heal yourself and incorporate energy healing into your daily life? Number one, first and foremost, ask God, ask Jesus to help you heal, okay? Jesus will guide you and help navigate you through the darkness and how to heal your energy system, because ultimately our chakra system, believe it or not, is a telephone line. It's our Wi-Fi. It's our free Wi-Fi connection straight up to God. But what happens is when our chakras are all blocked and clogged up with that gunk, think of a telephone line being all clogged up with gunk. It's going to distort communication. It's going to cut off communication. So really getting through, asking Jesus to help you navigate through and heal your chakra system is number one. Number two, you will be guided out to go to nature. Nature is our healing ground. You need to ground your energy and go out into the forest, touch a tree, hug a tree. Trees not only give us oxygen, they help heal and transmute. Trees help heal us at an energetic level. Think of a tree. The roots of the tree are into the soil, into the ground. Soil, soul, sound very, very similar, right? It's not a coincidence. Trees are here to help ground us and help us transmute our energy. Now, if you can't get out in nature, the second best thing that you can do is take saltwater baths, okay? Salt contains, it will absorb negative energy. Water is an element, it helps transmute the energy. So taking a saltwater bath, if you can't get out in nature, take a saltwater bath or take a shower and put salt in the shower where you're standing on the salt to help absorb all that negativity. That is how you can transmute and release that toxic energy sitting in your aura. So let's talk about water and how water is an element that can help transmute negative energy. So there was a study done by Dr. Emoto from Japan where he actually did an experiment where he took water, buckets of water, put a microphone into the water and played music frequencies, different types of music frequencies called hertz, okay? The hertz of the music. So what is happening is he's threw this microphone into the bucket, playing the music, and then he would freeze the bucket of water. And what he discovered is when he pulled out the frozen water, you could see geometric type shapes frozen in the water. That shape was exactly what was the music, the frequency. So he was able to see the shape of the actual music frequency. Why is this important? Why is this important? Why is music, water, frequency, the hertz of music so important when it comes to energetic healing? Let me explain. So we were all born, we start out as one cell. Now we have trillions of cells. These cells, I couldn't explain and tell you what's in this cell, but I do know that there is water, liquid in our cell, okay? So when we play music frequency, there's different hertz of the music, and we know that there's actually a shape for each one now. So as we're playing a certain hertz of the music, so let's say 396 hertz, that music's playing, right? That frequency is going to hit our cells. Our cells are going to hear the frequency, it's going to feel the frequency, and our cells are going to start to shake up, kind of like dance, right? So any trauma that's lying dormant in that cell is going to be released. The trauma that has been lying dormant in each individual cell of ours is going to be released because the music frequency hits the cell, it shakes it up, and it brings it up to the surface to be released. Because Science 101, energy can't be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred or transmuted, okay? So now, after we listen to the music, so that's why you should listen to meditation music, pay attention to the hertz of the music that you're listening to. Yes, there are certain hertz that go with the certain chakras, okay? So if you're wanting to do, let's say, for example, heart chakra meditation music, you're going to listen to music that's 400 hertz and above. So you can just kind of go with the chakra what number it is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you can look at the hertz of the music. That will help you heal that certain chakra. I do want to mention certain side effects after listening to meditation music. What it's doing is it's bringing everything, all the trauma that's being lying dormant within your bloodline, it's bringing it up to the surface. So now think of all that trauma, everything's sitting in your energy, and it's going to trigger emotions. It's going to trigger memories. All of a sudden you'll remember something that was like 30 years ago, and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. Okay, I never thought about that. I just thought about it. I had an emotion, maybe I cried, and then it was released. And it was like gone. I had healing, I had closure. I'm able to move on from it. Okay, this is how powerful listening to meditation music really is to help you heal. So once you listen to the meditation music sitting on you and you go through either the motion or the memory of it, it will be released from you. And this is why going out in nature or taking a saltwater bath is really, this process helps you release anything that's sitting on you that's kind of just like ready to be released. You can take it a step further by going in nature to really release it off of you, or taking saltwater bath or shower to actually like rinse all of it off of you. So the music helps you get to the very root of the trauma, and then the music brings it up to the surface, and then going out in nature or taking a saltwater bath will help you really release it to be able to finally heal from it. So people always ask me the question, like, are you ever really truly healed or done healing? Like, are you going to continue to have to heal over and over again? And I want to say, you're not going to have to, once you're healed from a certain trauma that you had and you were carrying around with you, you're not going to have to heal from it again. Moving forward, as you live life, you are going to continue to experience things, okay? So if you experience negative things into your future, you may have to heal from that experience. But I will say that the healing does get easier. It's hard work, but you know what you need to do in order to heal. To not allow these experiences to really be negative anymore. You can just move on from them and just say, hey, I'm going to grow and learn from this. So maintaining your health or living a healthy life. So healthy, you break it up, heal thyself. So you've done the hard work, you've healed from past trauma, and now you're in the present and you're saying, I want to maintain my healthiness, my healthy lifestyle at a physical level, energetic level. What that can look like is making sure you're consuming high vibrational fruits and vegetables. You want to stay away from chemicals or any type of toxic, alcohol, anything. You do not want to put that into your body, okay? Because that is going to cause trauma to your inner organs, your inner self, and of course your energetic self. So being mindful of what you consume, and then also being mindful of who you consume around you. Remember, I was speaking about the sexual intimate partners. You have to be mindful of who you're allowing into your life, because remember, energy can be transferred, and if you're allowing people into your energetic bubble and taking on their trauma, that's not good, because then you're like having a healthy self is being able to recognize what is yours and what is others. And this is where being spiritually sound, is what I call it, comes in. Being so in tune with yourself, loving yourself, having a personal relationship with God and Jesus, and helping you really become the best version of yourself is going to put up those safeguards, those safety nets around you where you're spiritually sound. So when people come in that are not spiritually sound, that have a lot of issues, that have trauma, it's kind of like your internal warning system. Hey, do I want to let this person in my life? Wait a minute, my radar is going off. I do not want you to hurt me, so I am going to put up my safeguard. This is how you can continue to remain healthy, and you can trust in yourself. You have the self-confidence and the empowerment to recognize and know not to let certain individuals in your life that are going to eventually hurt you, okay? This is why I say the healing gets easier because you're able to recognize, you're able to trust yourself and recognize what is going to be good for you and not good for you, okay? This will conclude my presentation on why energy healing is so important. Thank you all for listening. Have a good day.